In this lesson, we're going to learn how to send some information or a variable with our notification so that we can pass data in between our various scripts. So here's where we left off, and our explosion is taking away our health. But let's say we wanted to do something where we would take off more health the more times we clicked this. So it was some sort of a limited resource that the player could use, but they had to be careful because it would take off more and more health. Well, the question is, where do we want to track the number of clicks on the oil drum? And the obvious answer is on the oil drum. And so in our oil explosion, let's begin by tracking that information. So let's just create a new variable. We can call this clicks. And let's cast this into an integer, and this would start at 0. And whenever applied damage would be run, we just need to increment clicks, so clicks plus plus. So now we have a variable that tracks how many times we click on the applied damage. So now let's take a look at how we can pass this into our other scripts using our notification center. So as we talked about earlier, the default number of arguments is 2. The object that is sending the notification and the notification message itself. We can actually add a third argument to pass in any kind of data or information that the other scripts might have access to. So in this case, we want to pass along the number of clicks. So let's just say comma clicks. Oops. It seems I didn't copy that, so comma clicks. Save that out. And now this notification is going to be, or our click information is going to be accompanying our message. Now, of course, by default, this is not going to do anything until we tell our scripts that there's data there and that they need to use it to change our behaviors. So let's jump into Unity. And now that we have the information available, we can access it by actually passing in a function into our notification functions. So again, we need to jump over to the health because that's where our explosion currently lives. And so by default, we created the explosion function without passing any arguments in. But for us to actually get information from our notification, we need to pass in the notification information. And so we just need to pass in a variable name. So let's say note, shorthand for notification, and colon, and we need to give it the type of a notification. So that's a capital N notification. So now this note is actually a variable that contains some various information. So let's take a look at how we can access this information. And let's just begin by debug.logging it so we can see it here. So let's see, in our health script, we received, and then to access the data, we can do something like note.data. And this is the data that we're passing into it. But we can actually access more than just the note data. For now, let's actually just semicolon this and save this out and take a look at this. So let's jump back to Unity, hit play, give it a second to launch, click on this, and so in our health script, we received 1. In our health script, we received 2. So we can see here that our data is getting passed correctly. Okay, great. But the information we pass is not the only thing we can actually access with a notification. We can also access something or information like the actual sender object. And that's very important sometimes to know who is actually, or which script is actually calling this. So I've just jumped to the Notification Center wiki page, and down here at the bottom is the class of the notification. And this is what we're actually passing around whenever in our code we import the notification. So this is made up of a few different things, as we can see here. We have our sender object, we have the name of the notification, we have the data that is being passed along with it. Now normally if we do not set data, it comes in as null, but if we do have data, it comes in nicely. So let's see how we can access the sender as well as the name. So in our health script, we received this data from the object, and then let's add the note.sender. Whoops. And we need to put pluses here. And I'm just going to drop that to the second line so that we have a little bit more space to type. And let's also put, let's see, so in our health script we receive the data from the object in the notification called or named. And then we can do note.name. Okay, save this out, and we should be able to see all the information we can get whenever we have a note. Let's take a look here. Seems like we forgot a plus sign in between these two arguments. There we go. Should clear that up. There it is. Hit play, and now when we click our barrel, we're getting all of this information. So in our health script, we received one from the object oil drum with the component script oil explosion in the notification named explosion. So as you can see here, we not only have access, or we not only can run code with our functions, but we can actually pass a lot of information around inside of our notification center. And this is incredibly powerful. The ability to package data and have it be delivered to many recipients who can either take that data and do something with it or ignore it. You'll notice that in our enemy script, even though we added data, we didn't have to change a single thing in our function explosion because our enemy object doesn't really care about the explosion data, but our health object does care about the explosion data. Okay, great. So now that we've seen what we can do with the notification class or the notification type and how we can import this into our function, in the next lesson, let's take a look at how we can actually implement this into our script. Because if you're using Pragma Strict or if you're developing for a mobile application, it's not going to be as simple as it seems to be. So in this lesson, we took a look at the class, how we can pass data members or data objects between our various scripts, and the other information that comes with our notification center.